Right, so again, I'm going to go ahead and bring up some materials and textures. We'll do some silly, weird things with them. The first one is this Douglas fir texture. I just wanted to sort of a lighter, more expressive wood texture for my ceilings. So I'm just going to, this is something I just downloaded from architectures.org or .com, I can't remember which one it is. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to enlarge the canvas size. Then when I make a copy of this, I can just start pasting it and sort of tile this out to make it much larger, right? Until it sort of matches the scale that I need for that ceiling. So I'm going to go ahead and double click that background layer. Remember, when you open up, let's say, a flattened JPEG, right? It's just one layer and it's locked with background. So I'm double clicking on that background layer and it says, well, do you want to just convert this to layer O? And I'm going to say yes. All right, layer 0. Now I have layers, it's not all flattened. I'm going to hit Control A, copy, or sorry, Control A, select all, then Control C, copy. Now I'm going to go up to my image pull down to canvas size. Right? So again, get used to using that edit pull down, that image pull down, occasionally the select pull down and the filter pull down. There are other pull downs. The layers pull down can be handy sometimes if you want to merge everything or if you want to make a smart layer, etc. But we won't really get into that right now. Canvas size, and I'm just going to say from the top left, make this 2400, so twice as high, and for a width I'm going to go with 16,000. Ridiculous, right? All right, there we go. There we are. All right, perfect. Now I'm just going to paste. So I'm going to make a nice column there. I'm going to take these two layers now that make up each part of the column, and I'm just going to merge them together, merge layers. Now, that way I can select them all at the same time. There we go. Copy, paste, paste, paste. If I'm tired of hitting paste this many times, I can go ahead and just merge these layers. Copy and then paste, paste. Not sure where that one went. There we go. There, nice. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and flatten this. Flatten image, right? So I'm right-clicking on those layers. And I flattened it, right? So I can save this right back as a JPEG. You can see it says a background layer. It's locked. If I wanted to play around with this and add more layers, I could double-click that background layer and do the same thing how we started, right? So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and hit save. I'm just going to hit OK once I'm going to tell it to, use the largest sort of settings, the quality, etc. Hit OK. So now I've modified that JPEG. I made it much larger and titled that pattern across. Now at some point I might think about, while I'm doing this, coming up with some rules to sort of stagger this so it doesn't look quite as repetitive. So sometimes when you're using this, if it starts to look like, like an old 1990s website, I don't know if you've ever seen an example of what that looked like. They come up with this little tileable image, and then it would tile like a wallpaper for the background of your web page. Anyway, what you don't want is something like that looks really goofy and begins to stick out like a sore thumb. So anyway, here we are. I'm going to go ahead and select this whole thing and copy, and I'm going to paste it in here. Look how big it is compared to our original image. I'm going to zoom way out and hit Control T for transform. You can see just how large it is. Right? So I think I made it large enough, don't you? All right. I'm just going to scale it down a bit so I can see it on my screen. And here we are. Do that. All right. I'm going to make sure I have this layer where I want it. I want it above my render layer. So these are my two base renderings. Right? You might have one or two there, depending on what your preference is. And then I want it to be behind all the other entourage, the trees, and the human side added. So it's going to be sandwiched in between the entourage and the actual architecture. Right? It's going to be quite over here. All right. I'm going to go ahead and turn that layer off for just a moment and just take a look at this, right? I'm going to turn off these trees. They're a little bit in the way here. And what I want to do is I want to actually place that pattern and fill in. It looks pretty dark on the projector, but this sort of dark brown wood ceiling, and the next dark brown wood ceiling, and the next dark brown wood ceiling, okay? And so, not only do I have to twist and torque this thing to fill in the perspective, but then I have to be able to sort of crop it to only fill in those areas, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these areas. I'm going to save that selection so we can keep coming back to it, right? I'm going to be very careful, trying to make sure I have everything selected, and then I'll show you how you can save your selections. It really comes in handy, especially if it takes multiple clicks and adjusting things, trying to get certain things selected, certain things unselected. To be able to save those as active paths you can bring back as a selection later is really handy, right? And that's something I showed you at the very tail end of yesterday, right? Like when we had 5 seconds or 5 minutes left. So I wanted to go start there today, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Magic Wand tool. So again, just as a refresher, we have a bunch of selection tools up top. You can see the rectangular shape at the top right of your toolbar, right? Selection window, rectangular one. I can click and hold and I can make a circular elliptical one, make one that's only a single row and then as long as I want, and vertical or horizontal, right? I can make custom shapes with a lasso, freehand sort of shape around something. I can use the polygonal lasso tool and create sort of the polyline version of that, right? Here's just the freehand lasso tool. There's the magnetic lasso tool. If I zoom in and select this layer, what I can try to do is I click somewhere and then I try to fall along the edge and it tries to follow along with me, right? So if you have a lot of patience or you have something really complex and you need to sort of drag it along, you can do that. In this case,